Welcome to Dev Scholars.
Hello friends, and welcome again to another tutorial that I promise I'm going to shoot. And in this tutorial we are going to continue from where I left from. And you remember in the last tutorial I taught you about how to install Bootstrap and setting up the CSS and also JavaScript files that come pre-installed in Bootstrap. So today we're going to do side navbar, just like I promised, and very fast we're going to run into this. And before we do that, we're going to learn how to do what you see in your screen. And on the left sidebar, basically right here, this is what Gina requested. And like I've done, I'm having home, I'm having basically the menu items, home, about, pages, portfolio, and contact items. So you go through them. Later on I'll be pushing this to GitHub, the one we opened, and you know them, you know it, so that you can be able to pull, or rather clone, and install in your project. So under home we're having these three sub menu items, and for every item that has a sub item or sub menu is the arrow shall appear. So you'll be going through it and you will learn. So very fast, let's go through our code. Let's open the file that we began the other day, so that we're going to install it and begin from there. Okay, you remember I told you if you've not installed your localhost server, you do it very fast. So in our project, this is what we are doing last time, and in our previous tutorial. If you've not watched, please do make an effort of going through it and studying. So sorry, like I said, testing, we were testing the other day, but we're not going to do that. You can watch our previous tutorial. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to begin our coding right here, and we're going to store it into dev, our div. I'll be adding classes to change our interface as we move on. And in our div, the main div, or the one that is closing everything, we also going to have another div. Sorry, I'll also be explaining to you why we're doing that by adding another class. So these classes, or rather these divs that are closing and enclosing everything, they're very important when it comes to time of putting classes that to separate elements here and there. So like you've seen in our image right here, we're having an image, or rather our logo. So that logo shall appear in here, and I want to call it in our whatever, I want to refer to something, maybe we're referring to something, and we put our source. Later on I'll be adding our class, and I love doing this when I'm in inline styling, when I'm calling for a class. I'm calling for a source rather than using the source. I love using the style. We want to do some background image, and in a background image we want to do a URL. Our URL is in so we put our URL directory. It's an image. We are going to create our a URL image. Let's just do that, because there's a folder that's supposed to be image, then we put our logo right in there. So in our project we're going to create a new new folder, call it image. Then inside that image, that's where we're going to put our logo right here. So we locate our logo where it is, and logo, sorry, I'm just locating our logo. Yeah, this one, and put it inside here. So we rename it to logo. Right. Well, while we do that, after doing that, we embark to our code. So we have called that logo inside our inline styling. I'll be adding classes right here, and you'll be seeing that when I begin to do our CSS. So the next thing we are going to do to style our, or rather to place our items. These items are on the left. They're the side navbar. We want to style that. So everything shall be placed inside this div, and I'll be telling you when we begin to do CSS, just like I've said, you're going to learn how to do that. So I'm meant to understand you know what this means. This is an ordered list, and I'll also be doing their classes later on when we begin to do our CSS. And inside our another list, of course there are lists, and every list, when we begin to do this, in our lists, in every list we want to put an element, and also maybe to refer to an anchor. Maybe you want to refer to something you want, when you click it gets somewhere. And if you have a class, you can add to separate, maybe like colors and all that, but we'll be doing that in our style, in our CSS. So there's something I didn't do because I've just begun doing this. Let me before we get to an ordered list, before that, or rather inside our list, what I've just done, there is that list we are calling home, the first home. Then after that, we also have inside the same list, we are having another list. So we have an ordered list for, like you see in this home, we have submenu under home page. So those submenus are an ordered list. So a list inside list, we have nested lists. I think if you've gone through some HTML classes, you'll understand what I'm saying. So inside our unordered list, we have lists, and here we have home1. We have our home1. You can also put a href, maybe you want to refer to something, or rather to take it somewhere. When you click right there, we have home1, and we're going to paste our home1, home2, home3 inside this nested list. Like you see, you have home2, home3, just like we've done right here, 1, 2, 3. Then right after there, rather after that, we move outside this list and we create another list for about us, about list. So we create another list. So like you've seen, that one doesn't have a sub menu. So what we're just going to do, we're just going to put an anchor tag and refer to wherever you want it to go and give it a name about. So when you do that, so because the rest are just a duplication of the about, let's see, pages, actually home and pages, home is a duplication of pages, and about is a duplication of portfolio and contact. So what we're going to do, because we have created already home and we also have about home, we're just going to duplicate the portfolio. So we have done about, so we're going to do pages. So on pages, we're just going to duplicate home, and you're going to see that. And because home has a nested list or list inside another list, which under list. So what we're going to do is just duplicate that, and that will be under about. So we're just going to have pages right here, and have page 1, page 2, and page 3. So page 1, let's just copy that and paste, and page 3, page 1, 2, 3. Oh, I've also remembered here we need to, yeah, that page 1, page 2, page 3. And every time you, of course, every time you're doing that, you make sure you're saving. And under the unordered list, we'll be having classes right here. I'll be adding classes in our CSS tutorial, whereby we'll be connecting that to this. So, and now after that, we've done portfolio. Pages. We're going to do portfolio and contact. And portfolio, like I said, is a duplication of this, of about. So we're just going to paste that right here, and that will be it shall be portfolio. Sorry, that will be portfolio. Sorry, the spelling is portfolio. Then from there, we're also going to have contact. Let me try to format this very well, so that we have everything balanced very well. So sorry, so what we've done, like I've told you, we have done our list of items already. We've done all these lists. Like you can see, all these lines are done by CSS. All these arrows are done by CSS. So we have our work area right here, because you cannot have side navbar alone and forget to have the working area. All this must be placed in a working area. So if you were to run this, basically what you'll see is something that is not styled, something that just looks like a normal or mere HTML. Let's try to edit this so that we can have something very presentable when you are running your file. So we're going to call it dev. Our project shall be called dev scholars, and I think most of you know what this means. Our title, this shall be our tutorial, or rather nav, our sidebar tutorial 2. So so let's try to run this and see what happens. Let's try to run this and see what happens. We want to run and see how that shall work. Actually, see here. Let's try to run it and see how it shall appear. Well, this is how it appears. Like you see, this is how it appears. Like you can see, it's not structured at all. It's not actually, it's just a mere home, a mere list. And I think this is what Gina was going through. But Gina, only the problem you're having is I think you need to go through some CSS classes, because in our next tutorial we're going to learn how to do CSS very well, to link CSS and HTML so that we can structure it. Because CSS, what it does, it beautifies the whole thing. CSS can be able to play with HTML and bring the beauty part of it. All the images and the way we've done in here, the way we put this in a circle form, like the way we put this bold and all this. So let's do our work area, then I think we can be able to do CSS. Well, let's get back to work, and so that we can be able to do our work area. We want to code for work area right here, so that when you are doing, or rather you're installing, you can be able to place things where they're supposed to be. So our nav, like I told you, there's something I think I didn't do, and I wanted to tell you this when we are coding. All these, we want to put them in a nav bar, what we just coded right now, so that we can separate them. We'll be able to separate. We want to put them in an element that we want to form, it's called navbar. So you can structure this into your own time, so that they are done and formatted to follow your coding standards. I always advise people to do them, to format very well, so that you can be able, your code can be readable. So you can format them by using the, maybe whichever, some software will be able to help you, or editing tool shall be able to help you. So very fast, in 3 minutes, we are going to include our work area, and right here, work area. So we do this work area. Work area, we include a work area right here, and what you're going to do, we're going to put our work area in a div. So in our work area, we have our h2, and I'll be coding for the h2 itself in the next tutorial, the CSS tutorial. So very fast, we have called that, we've given it a name. This is the name for the h2. So then from there, what we do, we include our paragraph for content, and another paragraph for the content too. So we get to copy all this, so that we can be able to put them in 2 paragraphs respectively. So thank you very much for watching our tutorial, and see you in the next tutorial. I think right here, so when you run this, like you see, when you run this, it's let me save, so that we can run this and see what happens. When I put CSS, I think you'll be able to see what happens, and even the content shall appear. Others, thank you for watching this tutorial, and see you in the next CSS tutorial, whereby we shall be linking this HTML that we've just done, and we'll be linking it to the CSS, so that we can beautify it and look it very good and beautiful the way this is. So Jenny, I think this is where you need to be very keen, and you can be able to look at it and enjoy it very much. So see you in the next tutorial, and remember to subscribe. See you.